All right, all of you freedom-loving boys and girls, whomever you are, wherever you are on this big blue marble of a planet we call Earth, Mark, Centerline Systems. We've got a very special guest today, Chappy from the Arizona Vets Program. I'm going to introduce him in a second, as always. Just a little bit of housekeeping, just let people catch up with the live stream. As you can tell, I'm having another just awesome allergy kind of affected day. So again, the guy who has the voice for radio and the face for radio and the voice for silent film is doing even better. Hey, as you can see down below, my only little piece of housekeeping just before we bring on our guest, because I want to get him on here. We got a lot to go over today. You can see, and I'll just keep that up. So I'm going to run a 15% sale from now until just after 4th of July. So I think the Monday, the 8th. So starting now through the 8th of July, so a month-long sale, because it's D-Day today. We've got the 148th anniversary of our country on the 4th of July. The code is going to change every week, though. So, and I've still got a couple of the products on the website. I'll have the code. It's on the top of the website. It's going to change every week. And then I'll also have it on the top of every product page. All right. So without further, and then just like I did on the flash sale on Monday's live stream, the only things, if you don't see, use promo code on a product, that's because that's one of my lost leads products and there's just no margins there. So there's 4 things that aren't eligible: keepers, gear strap, kits, key DC, and shoulder strap. And without further ado, Chappy, you ready, my good man? We'll bring you on here in a second. All right. I got thumbs up from Chappy. Let's get him on. Chappy, welcome to, so just as always, like Chappy and I have talked over the phone. I follow him on Instagram. It's kind of how we met each other, but this is still why this is a great thing. Now I would rather be in person with him having a beer, but at least now we're actually face to face. Chappy, thanks for coming on. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, sir?
So grateful, Mark. Thank you so much for having me. And before I get into intros, since you did a beautiful job at that, I would just like to raise a glass to celebrate the dearly departed that gave so much and sacrificed so much today, 80 years ago. So raise a glass, take a moment of silence, and let's reflect on the importance of what today is and who it's for.
Rock and roll, my good man. That was
so good.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chappy. And
thanks for indulging me. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, and we were just kind of talking about this. Today is D-Day, and maybe I'll kind of start off our little conversation on D-Day. I'll just give a quick story, turn it over to Chappy. So I was able to take leave en route coming back from another theater one time, and going to Normandy for an actual D-Day ceremony was part of like one of my major bucket lists events, and I was able to go there. And you can imagine I was just coming back from one of the theaters, wars theaters and stuff, and it just was, that whole area is so sacred. It's just so unbelievably inspiring to sit down there at Pointe du Hoc or on Omaha and just look at. I was just like, I couldn't even believe it. I was like, how in the hell did these men do this? How did they do it?
Indeed. And I find myself, this is another story. I've yet to go. I've always wanted to, but when I was deployed, someone had burned some DVDs of the series Band of Brothers, which I'm sure everyone's very familiar with. And it just struck a nerve. I started watching and then I read the book, and it was hard to read, hard to watch, but I find myself going back to that series and just kind of watching like some of the episodes, especially obviously D-Day, like Saving Private Ryan. I was just about to enter the military when that movie came out, and what Spielberg was able to do for that opening sequence on the beach. I mean, I don't know how much more realistic you can get. So even as a young man, I was able to appreciate how difficult, I hate to say, I mean, can I use naughty words here?
Yeah.
Should I keep it clean?
Yeah. This is we're adults here, right? So
yeah, we are adults, I think. Just the balls of the individuals stepping onto that beach. I can't imagine what they were thinking in those moments, and the fact that they were able to secure those beachheads. Wow. Anyway,
well,
yeah. So this,
And just in
Go ahead.
all, just on that, because we always kind of focus on but uh, it's just that the whole it's so immense. It's so overwhelming almost.
Mm,
It's hard to do. I was able to do it because I was already transiting. So I took leave and route. I know it's not the easiest thing in the world. As schedule the time, fly over there, get hotels. But I will just say this: I saw so many people there, and I thought there was like, oh gosh, look at all these Americans who flew over, and are in uniform doing the period pieces. No, it's the local citizens and just the
mm,
French people, dressed up as nurses, and it's just unbelievable. Again, just to see what they accomplished, how they did it, I have no idea. But then to see that the good people, from the Normandy area of France, and from other parts, and from England and stuff as well, just keeping that alive. I mean, it's
hmm.
absolutely phenomenal. So, I would just say, so this is the 80th anniversary. I'm not going to pull it up here, but I would also recommend everybody go and watch Ronald Reagan's 40th anniversary speech. Another just incredibly moving tribute that kind of encapsulates just what Chappy and I are doing a really bad job. We're just normal dudes, but somebody who can really speak and capture it. Reagan's speech, on the 40th anniversary, just phenomenal. And but yeah, definitely check it out. And if you can ever get over there, if you've got an inclination and you want to see some history, and it's just, again, it's mind, but I don't even know how to really sum it up, to this day,
No,
like just crazy stuff,
yeah,
even like
no
the dudes who
words.
flew into Pegasus Bridge, like the glider forces and the airborne guy, just, man, like you said,
The
the
balls.
balls, holy
Yeah.
crap.
Like doing things that no one has ever done ever, in combat. Just going, yeah, this is how we're gonna tackle this on every single front that we can think of, just to destroy the evil forces that were, that was Nazi Germany. Like I just I find when I look at history that these moments in history sort of define us and allow us to be our best selves as far as how creative and how ingenious we can become when we're faced with adversity. And that's sort of the hallmark of the military experience, is overcoming obstacles and finding resiliency in hardship, and that brotherhood and now sisterhood that exists among servicemen and women.
Hey, on that note, and that's just a great segue to talk into, that brotherhood and that sisterhood and what you're doing at Arizona Vet. Let me just pop up where we are in comments. We got some people so we got Ground Fog giving us a big clap, but then Sergeant Thomas, Chappy is a legend, he says. So that guy must owe you some money there, Chappy. Gene
Yeah, I'll
from
collect
across,
later.
yeah, or a beer or something, right?
I'll
Gene
take
from
it.
across the pond. He's over in the UK. Good evening, everyone. Let's remember the past and hope it never happens again. Amen, Gene. Yep. Thank you to those that have and still serve to protect the world. Thank you, Gene.
Mm.
Great comment there. And then we've got Stranger saying hello to everybody. And then Martin Madsen finally made alive. Well, thank you, Martin. Thanks for being here. Big Visk in the house. Hello, everybody. Snowshoe Dave checking in. Oops, I got a little carried away here. Oh, what did I just do? Sorry, everyone. There we go. We got Tennessee saying greetings from the PNW. Greetings, Tennessee. Alpha's in the house. Alf up in Canada. We got Tennessee screw tubes at it again. And then Tennessee saying Kelly for the role. We've got Dominica
Oh,
Christian.
Dom.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Dom's a friend.
Nice. All right. Well, there we
Yeah.
go. You got Dom coming in with a nice clap. You got John saying he's reporting for duty. We got a salute and then a please. And then Kelly's Tennessee, aka Kelly, saying, I believe there's only 3 vets. I think that's what you were saying, Kelly. There's only 3 still living. Unfortunately, I did hear one of the living vets was flying over there and died en route. So that's sad to hear. But went home to be with his brothers. So
Kevin, what's up, buddy?
yep. He says you're clean shaven. That's very nice.
I
Apparently,
know.
you
Yeah,
you
well,
you.
thank you. Well, I know Kevin as well. He's another a friend of the trail as well.
Right on.
Yeah.
And then
Good
we'll
to
end
see
it
some
right
people
here.
here.
Tennessee. The greater the adversity challenge, the brighter we shine. Heroes all. Roger to the dot.
Agreed.
All right. Hey,
100%.
that's a great note right there. Let's bring it over to you, Chappy and Kevin, and you got some, fans in there. And I guess, we've been treated to, you are clean shaven, like that picture you
Yeah.
sent me.
Yeah.
I thought I
I
was
know.
talking to a different guest.
I kind of go back and forth. It is stupid hot here already. So, any chance other than the long locks, which is just out of laziness, not out of vanity. It's just too hot here. I think we're now dipping in the hundreds. So, it's going to be a scorcher of a summer. But hey, again, Mark, everyone here that's watching, listening, just thank you for the opportunity to share the love about what I'm able to do down here in Arizona. I've had the pleasure of knowing Mark for, God, it's been a few years now, where we've been able to connect on many levels. But I was a fanboy, just like all of you, with the amazing gear that he makes. I utilize trail tools in a lot of areas on the Arizona National Scenic Trail, and one of which was this beautiful and very simple and clean sheath that he makes for silky saws, but I think variety of saws fit in there. But I was like, man, I want one of those. So I just reached out to him and said, I love your gear, and we hit it off immediately. But what struck me was just after very few conversations with him, he was just all on board and hooking us up with some of that gear, offering us some awesome discounts, and just supporting what we're doing with the Arizona Trail Association. So, as Mark mentioned, I run the VETS program. VETS stands for Veteran Engagement and Trail Stewardship. And it's all about bringing vets to the trail to offer a very simple thing. And it's not so simple because I didn't see it right away, but what it's transformed into, or what it was initially, is a opportunity for veterans to get together and revisit some of what they experienced in service, camaraderie, connection, community, you name it. But what it really transformed into was meaning and purpose for the individuals that came out. I've had many come up to me and just offer thanks and gratitude around the fact that they get to actually do something to give back. Because what really gives us what ties us together, I should say, is our service and being of service. And to do that again by giving back to the trail, that gives us so much opportunity to heal, to connect with one another, to connect with Mother Nature. We can go into this ad nauseum, as well as far as my belief and understanding how nature interacts with our brain chemistry, with our bodies, how connected we are to these landscapes, and it really just offers a way for us to go home in a lot of ways. So with that, that's pretty much in a nutshell what we do. We have a 800 plus mile national scenic trail to play on. So I have the opportunity to find meaningful opportunities and engagement on the trail that offer some sort of work, maintenance, or building activity. And what we are aiming to do is obviously improve the trail for every user. So we accommodate both foot traffic, equine, and mountain bike throughout the entirety of the trail. And we're looking at always improving it, whether that looks like just going in and widening the trail a little bit here and there, brushing the corridor of all the branches and stuff that grow. When the monsoon season hits this summer, it's going to provide amazing water, hopefully for our trail, but it just transforms the landscape, and everything just blossoms and grows. So we have to go in there and cut some of that back so we don't whap our faces when we're going down the trail. But moreover, there's been opportunities to just, it's sort of metaphoric in a lot of ways, because we are building new trails at times as well, to remove a section of trail that might be on an old 4x4 road, or it's just not a great alignment, and it's eroding really bad. So there's opportunities really to make a trail with these veterans that come out with me. So it's beautiful to watch how they are digging in the dirt and seeing something tangibly transform in front of their eyes. They can look back and be proud of, and then hopefully they can go back to it with friends and family, revisit that section and go, God, this section sucked and this was so hard. And I'll tell you, they curse me a lot. Maybe under their breath. Dom could probably attest to this, that we work hard out there. but we play hard too. So it's this beautiful mix of blood, sweat, and tears on the trail, hot, gross, sweaty, you name it, and then we get back to the camp, and that's really where the magic ends up happening. We have an amazing base camp experience. I try and create this very intimate, very safe environment where we can share, where we can feel like we are a part of a group, and really the piece de resistance is the meals that we provide. I'm not a believer in just everyone gets a MRE and shut up and eat it. I come out with the force. We have great cooks that come out for us, providing very nutritious, very tasty meals. And food is love, man. So showing that gratitude by eating really well, replenishing those calories that we've expended throughout the day, and then we do it again, rinse and repeat. So that is like a 3-day, 4-day experience with these veterans. And yeah, I'll shut up really quick and see if there's any questions from your end, Mark.
Well, well, first off, I want to come back to the physical and psychological benefit of like what you guys are doing, right? And then you add food into that. That's another component, because that's community and that's camaraderie. And like you said, it's not just here's an MRE, go set up your own shelter. Right now you're bringing the group together. You're all breaking bread, so to speak. But so
absolutely.
So before we get into that, you've got some folks here who already know who you are. How about, and I can post this up as a comment here too, excuse me. How do people find out about your program? Like, you want to give them your Instagram, or, how can they find out what you guys are, where you're located, who you are, and maybe other ways that other people might reach out and be able to support you as well, with contributions or something like that, Chappy?
Oh my God, that would be great. So the first part of that, thank you for bringing that up. I'm bad about social media and putting myself out there, because a lot of ways, since I'm the face of the program, I feel like it's sort of self-gratifying. So I try and step away like I'm not doing it, but it doesn't always lend itself to that's those are my demons, my shadows that I deal with in this line of work, because I certainly do want more people to understand and know what this program is. So with that, our handle on socials, it's pretty simple across the board. It's AZ Trail Vets with the @ in front of it. Our motto is "We build, we protect." So any two of those may send you in the right direction. There is a website that you can find us on as well, because we are attached to the Arizona Trail Association, and that's aztrail.org. We have a page located within that website. It's a bit big because it's a lot of information really about trail conditions, things that are going on across the trail, which is, as I mentioned, huge. And so we have programming in addition to the vets program for youth engagement, for general volunteerism, you name it. So yeah, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, is that correct?
There.
Yeah,
That's
I
great.
got it right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then the last piece is, I hate asking, but we are a nonprofit. So any contribution, whether it's a tangible donation, like, what you have provided, Mark, like a sheath for a blade, or, an actual monetary contribution, all of it will go toward continuing this mission and vision of getting vets on the trail.
All right. And what about your Instagram? I'll put that up there too.
It's the same one for everything. So Instagram, Facebook. I'm on Twitter, but I'm not on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. But yeah, those are the ways to get a hold of me, because it is me. Just to be very transparent, there isn't a team of minions working behind the scenes here, other than I see Dom and Kevin and Sarge Thomas there. Like they're great at spreading the word on their own, and it's really about word of mouth as well that helps make this program visible and accessible for others. But I'm working again with other nonprofits. The big one, like I said, was Team RWB over Memorial Day on the North Rim. Dom was actually there for that one, and that was an incredible experience, engaging with 20 veterans and hiking into the canyon with them. And it was a great way to spend Memorial Day to actually, I got a text from you, Mark, during that time to raise the glass. And I was like, oh my God, I got to send him a photo of these vets, and hopefully that backdrop translated. But it was an incredible experience. But it's just been an organic process since the beginning of just putting myself out there, calling people like you, Mark, and just explaining to them how important and how necessary these programs are to get veterans in outdoor spaces.
All right, Len, let's, geez, excuse me, everybody. This just sucks, but I apologize. But yeah, let's get into that part right there. But before we do it, just a couple comments that are I'm pretty sure for you here. Sergeant Thomas says the food was wonderful. And then Kevin is saying that the chicken and dumplings were awesome. So yeah, it looks like, you are paying some, treating them for some good hard work and busting some butt, making some trail chicken and dumplings. Although that does sound like an MRE meal, Chappy. I'm not gonna lie. That could
it does. And actually, so to be again transparent, Paul Jenkins was with me. He's another trail vet that comes out quite a bit with us, and he volunteered his time to cook for us. He basically gave me the meal plan. I went out and bought everything, and he and I were kind of behind the scenes as the RWB folks, the Eagles, were out hiking. He and I were prepping meals for the evening and their return so that we could give them a really good homecoming every evening.
Hey, so just on that note right there, everybody, again, here it is. We're going to get into some, and just to, I think where I would like to go is Chappy, start having you talk about, again, that just how nature, again, your body, your soul, your mind, that clarity, especially for veterans, and here we are, and I think, and I don't know if we planned it this way, but here we are on D-Day talking about this. So it's just totally appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
But so again, if you want to reach out, if you believe in these type of organizations and the work that Chappy's doing, I mean, I personally do. I love, and this is community. This is how we can make a difference in each other's lives. And so here it is again, where you can reach out to these guys, touch base with Chappy, throw them a couple bucks, give them some chicken and dumpling MREs. No, just joking, no MREs, right? And then and then just two other comments, and then let's bring it over to you, Chappy, and let's talk about that nature side of it. So you got Dom saying all volunteer crew. That's awesome. And then Kathy Warren. Hey, Kathy.
Hey, Kathy.
Paul made amazing gluten-free chicken and dumplings. So yeah, I mean, there you go. So yeah, guess the chicken and dumplings were the cat's meow, right? So Chappy.
They were. So we did. Yeah.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say like that was one of 3 meals that we prepared. And that was probably one of my favorites too. I don't know what magic Paul put in those chicken and dumplings, but they were bomb. They were good. Think about this too. Like you're hiking all day and it's, you're exhausted, you're tired, and you get to roll into camp. Your tent's already there. And then we ring the dinner bell and you get a hot meal that is actually pretty delicious and nutritious. And you can just see, I was just like, of course I'm eating and enjoying it, but I'm looking around and looking at everyone's face and how that food really accentuated and probably was very welcome to the group. And just magic sauce. So yeah, I mean, I can dive right into what you asked about nature and the necessities that they're in for our military community. So I think, where I'd like to start in that conversation is mental health. There's a huge crisis still around veteran suicide. It's very much still 21 or 22 a day. There's an awareness around it now. It's not taboo anymore to talk about how you're doing up here versus in your body. And let's face it, nature is the perfect prescription for a lot of ailments that we receive or are the recipient of after we are transitioning out of service. Like there's just, there's not a lot. I mean, there's services, but veterans have a hard time, including myself, asking for what we need, asking for help, because we're not used to that. That's something that we are kind of taught not to do in the service. We're told to suck it up, carry on, as they say. And once we become civilians again, there should be a very in-your-face approach to transitioning out. And part of that is connecting with organizations like ours that not only provide those opportunities for connection to other service members, but also connection to the natural world. It is proven time and time again through many peer-reviewed studies and journals that nature has the ability to lower our stress, to lower our cortisol levels, to increase endorphins, to reset our circadian rhythm, which is the sunset to sun up effect. And really, it comes down to how much time you're able to spend in nature. Anytime is good, of course, but really to provide an experience. And some of these eagles from RWB could maybe attest to this: is that the longer that you stay immersed in nature and disconnected from society and all the trappings they're in, like your cell phones and electronic devices, you find yourself starting to become more present, more aware of your surroundings. And it's sometimes a hard thing to do. It's almost like trusting and letting go for a little while that you're in good hands and that you're going to be okay. And that's another hard thing that I see some individuals do when we're out together. But eventually, we all rally. We all come to each other's aid, and that's part of my opening dialogue with everyone: is that we're here to take care of each other and ourselves while we're out here, and hopefully go home better than when we arrived. So 3-day effect. It's a thing. It's a thing. We talked about this, Mark, where you're in nature for at least 3 days, and all of a sudden you see all of these benefits. Before that, you're still getting benefits, but really when you start to go out longer and you notice after that 3-day period, you're starting to feel differently. Your body, your mind start to become more in sync, and it is absolutely amazing to witness as a program manager in this type of work. So that's the first aspect of what nature can do for our community, our military community. The second thing is I do cater to active duty as well. This is a veteran program, but in my mind, active duty are going to become vets at some point, unless they're naughty, which, I probably won't deal with those individuals. But the ones that I do get after their service, I want to make sure that they know that we exist. And so there is an active duty piece where they actually can go back to their station, their duty station, or whatever their job is, and receive those benefits as well. So there's a resiliency piece there for active duty members to know that these programs are available to them. It's about, there's another aspect of military readiness. If you are physically and mentally good and hopefully prepared for maybe a detachment or deployment, because you've received some of these gifts of spending time outside with fellow servicemen and women in a setting like this that provides opportunities for service, you might see changes in even how our military even operates on a very small level, but it's a huge part of it. And as Mark, especially when you're active duty, you need to stay fit, you need to stay ready. And I mean, nature is, again, I said the perfect prescription, but it's also the perfect gym, especially when you're swinging a tool. Oh my God, swing a tool for 6-7 hours a day for 3 days straight. I guarantee you're going to be sore, but you're going to leave stronger. And that's what we're looking for in our military right now. Oh, Mark, you're on mute, brother.
Hey, that happens. I think it would be wrong if I don't have at least once per live stream. Mark, your mic is muted. I'm sitting here so no one hears me coughing and sneezing.
I was like watching your mouth move, and I was like, I wonder if he knows.
Yeah. Hey, but so
some nuggets there.
The stupid little story though, but just to your point. And look, and we're not throwing anybody under the bus or whatever the case is, but not everybody in the military, is throwing on a rucksack and doing force marches and all this stuff. But it doesn't matter. You're in the military and you're still putting up with the same shit, right? That's kind of the common denominator, is that lifestyle and the stress and everything that brings. So to your point, Chappy, that's why I really liked, and was really hoping you'd sit and talk about just that benefit of being outside. My first break in service, I left active duty moved back to here in northern Minnesota, except farther north where I'm originally from. And I worked that whole first like summer and fall working on the Superior hiking trail. So it's a big hiking trail going, around Lake Superior. And it, just to your point, you're out in the woods swinging tools and breaking trail and creating and, making, dropping a tree and cutting steps out of it, just all that stuff. And, you would have thought that would have been the last thing I wanted to do. And it was just it was the perfect thing because, just like any other vet, I had that first break in service. I had a bad second duty station. I'm like, F this, man, this is crap. And then, but then what do? The first thing you do, you go back out into doing that kind of stuff because of how it just helps you mentally, well, it did for me anyway. And then it's the same for the agency. And I know the agency isn't the military, but it's my ops tempo was incredible. Coming here and then landing here in Duluth, Minnesota, where my, part of my family's from, and being back out here in nature. And then just literally, I just took that first year and I just was out in nature. I was hunting, I was fishing, I was camping. And that was exactly what I needed. I think if I would have landed, excuse me, everyone, if I would have landed in an urban environment, I'm not 100% sure what would have happened. I mean, not that I turned out to be a great guy anyway, but, but, but you see what I'm saying? So I really like that. I think that's just a great thing that you guys are doing because I just can't tell you how much it mattered for me. So that's why I really, so there it is. Maybe I have a bias. I fell in love with you guys because of what you're doing, for my own personal, because I agree with it 100%.
Yeah. And thank you for that vote of confidence. And I think stories like yours and mine are not unique. I think a lot of us who have the ability to recreate or to find solace in nature or have open spaces near where they live tend to gravitate toward them after serving. I know that's how I grew up. I'm lucky to have grown up in Tucson and had these amazing mountains nearby that I played in a little bit as a youth. Didn't really, like most kids, don't understand how valuable they are at the time. But then, as an adult and really after service, I found myself sort of, being drawn to those spaces all the time. And I would go out and just have no agenda and get lost. And sometimes it was on a trail, sometimes it wasn't. And, I like your story, Mark. I think, had I not had that access to nature, I probably would. I don't want to say that I may not be here, but I might not. Yeah, I think there's definitely a potential for self-harm or just falling off the deep end mentally and just literally becoming a hermit somewhere in the woods. That could have been me too, but I was able to process things differently after coming back. And you know how it is. It's just like a reset for a little while. It doesn't last forever, unfortunately, but it does lend itself to being this great equalizer. So you can come back and be a little less stressed out, maybe have some of those conversations that you didn't want to tackle prior to spending that time outside.
Yeah. And just even having that conversation, even if you don't have a buddy or a group of people or, that or an organization like yours that you can be a part of. I had many of those conversations just with me and the trees and the animals and God and, just being out there in the woods. So, hey, we've got a couple comments here. I want to give everybody a chance here because this is just some people weighing in about, what you guys been doing. So we have, here's where we left off. So Dom is saying, the smell. So again, the food and just how that.
I'm like the food.
Yeah. And then Sergeant Thomas is saying, Paul is a combat Marine that made field chow with style, And so, you just kind of mentioned that whole band of brothers. I remember, I can't remember which episode it is. I think it's after Tarantan. But it's all a bunch of the NCOs. They're in the back of the deuce and a half. Yeah. It's that kind of shit right there.
Yeah.
And the food and everything. Right. So
exactly. Wasn't he like cooking it in a helmet or something like that over?
So I know this is going to sound dated and trite, but so when I joined the military in 1985, I was 17. We still had steel pots, and I was in the 101st Airborne Air Assault, not an airborne unit really, but it still has that that title. And we actually did that stuff. I mean, that's real. Like, ramen noodles cooked in a steel pot with cheese whiz was like, and then, the MREs, one of my favorite was like the dehydrated beef or dehydrated pork patty. And you would crumble that in with your ramen noodles and cook that shit up. And then, for some reason, then the military, later in life decided that, field craft like that was no longer important or something, which was stupid to me. But
yeah,
a couple more comments here, and then I want to bring it back over to you to kind of go back into that mental health and, whether it's the food and or the trail side of it too. But Dom, another comment here, love disconnecting from society and connecting with nature. Yep. Amen. Tennessee, Mother Earth takes care of us. I think there's a very natural grounding that takes place. We are part of the cycle. Yeah, just getting
like
back
that
in there and
comment.
getting dirt. Yeah, and getting dirt under your fingernails, right?
Mhm.
Ground fog with a big clap. Dom coming in again, improving your resistance. Then we've got Kevin here making a comment. Thank you, Kevin. Let's get him up here. 37.9 miles in 3 days. It was one step at a time and reminded us to be present and not focus on the past traumas. Yeah. Clearing your mind, man. Yeah. Giving your body some just good, wholesome work, sweating, feeling all that stuff coming out of you, man. It's cleansing. It was, it totally was for me. And I wasn't there doing what you guys did, but that same thing, getting out and getting in the woods. I was skeptical. Then Sergeant Thomas, and maybe this is where you want to kind of go on and respond to this one, Chappy. Sergeant Thomas is saying, I was skeptical 3 days would do anything. I have been in less pain aside from feeling mentally better and itching for another expedition with my new brothers and sisters. Chappy, yeah, and then we got Sergeant saying amen, and then to you, and then Ground Fog with a big thumbs up. So you maybe want to address that. I mean, it's not a negative comment. I think that actually just goes to the point of what we're getting at. Sergeant Thomas's comment right there.
So let's just be clear here. Sergeant Thomas, Kevin, and Dom, they were all part of that Eagle expedition that went to the Grand Canyon over Memorial Day weekend.
Nice.
So
nice.
this is great to have them here so that they can speak to their experiences. But it's great, that I love the skeptics. I love the ones that are unsure, unclear about what these kinds of experiences will do. And again, in the spirit of transparency, I'm normally not the chef or the behind the scenes guy when it comes to these events. There was 2 other Eagle leaders that did a great job, but we did not do our normal experience where we actually did trail work. This was more of a hiking experience to celebrate and commemorate Memorial Day properly as a unit. So if we had gotten a chance to actually do trail maintenance or building exercises, it would have been even a completely different experience. But I sort of took a back seat to allow Charles and Daniel, who were the other Eagle leaders, to step into that role. And I was very impressed and happy with how they handled everything. I am, as your watchers right now and those that know me, I'm very much a lover and very hippy dippy in a lot of ways. And I get into the feels with these folks, and I wish I could have connected a little deeper to these individuals. But even with that skepticism of just the I would say like a half event style that we did in collaboration with Team RWB, it was still felt, even just what we were able to do by providing a base camp and great meals. And then I was fortunate enough to go hiking with them on the final day into the canyon, where everyone did really well. It was hot. There was some potential heat related emergencies that we were able to mitigate, and we all made it safely to the top. And that was again a crowning achievement for 20 individuals, all different personalities, all different styles, credos, ages. I mean, you name it. And that's, again, it's another one of those feel good pieces for me that I know that we're all connected regardless of when we've served. It's really the tie that binds, as they say. You're muted again, brother.
That's twice. Yeah. That's I got that going for me already.
Third time you owe me a beer.
Yeah, seriously, that downright, no doubt about it. Hey, but so I like where you were going with that, and I really like, again, that, how you just getting out there and that mental and what that does for you physically. I would love to have you back on again in the near future. Jeremy, he was helping me. He was my partner over on when we did Mission Critical podcast. He's a good friend and we talk all the time. Now, here locally, there's an organization, and I did a charity event for them last year, a charity auction called 23rd Veteran, kind of going back to what you talked about, veteran suicide. But they just
Yes.
did a Ruck Over Memorial Weekend as well, kind of event. And, Jeremy, who's a very physically fit guy, I'm not throwing him under the bus here. He'll be the first person to talk about it. If you don't get out and do that, and if you don't practice, and, this is a different kind of muscle group, and you kind of need to know what you're doing. And again, Jeremy's no slouch. But I'd like to have you on because one of the things afterwards, Jeremy was talking, and so I'm just kind of sharing some of my experiences and, background with that in that area with him. I would love to have you on because, I know it sounds stupid and you're just somebody saying, oh, you're just walking with weight on your back. If that's what you think it is, good luck. If you've got the wrong socks, the wrong boots, you're not laced up, how you're putting your weight in your rucksack. I mean, I know it sounds kind of ridiculous, but, for guys who, who walk carrying all that stuff, I mean, you kind of really, it makes a difference, it really does.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Would that be something? And I apologize. I didn't mean to ambush you like that. I just thought of it right now.
No,
Would that be something
dude.
that you'd
I
be willing
mean,
to come back on?
100%. I'm there for it, man. Any chance I can to connect with you, Mark, and obviously your audience, I am game for. But to your point, just to bookend what you were saying about, the gear being a very very valid piece to your preparation. As Kevin said, they did, I would say even over 38 miles in 3 days. People were getting blisters because they, weren't, they weren't conditioning their footwear, or they had, shit socks, or they had, just, they were sized incorrectly, and then you talk about the backpack. I mean, if the backpack hurts and you're trying to carry water with you, or, all the, like, the 10 essentials or whatever, it hurts. And obviously, the way that and this probably better than most is, you from your experiences in the field, when you get a good piece of gear that fits well, feels good, that performs under stress, it holds a special place in your kit. You just don't want to let it go. And so, like, the stuff that you make is fantastic. Yeah, it's on the heavier side, but here's my philosophy. I've been in the world of outdoor gear for a long time, and I've seen the ultralight stuff. I've seen the stuff that's made overseas, some good, some bad. But I am a fan of not looking at weight when it comes to my pack or my shoes. I know
Yeah.
that might be crass to some people, but if you don't get durable shoes, you don't get a durable backpack that holds weight well, you're screwed. You're gonna be sucking the whole way, or at least, once you start to realize maybe miles in the trail that how wrong your prepping was. So, to Kevin's credit, a lot of these people, came back, day by day, a little bit tired, a little bit more sore, nursing some injuries, but they pressed on. We all, rallied it together, and those that could offer some medical, tape or blister care or whatever, they just jumped in on it, and to get everyone back on the trail the following day. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think a good actual, I know it sounds stupid. Some people would be like, "Ah, I don't need to learn that," but how to take care of your foot maintenance,
Hmm.
boots and socks. I mean, that stuff is incredibly important. Hey, we had a couple good comments in here, and so these things I meant for them to be about 30 minutes, but they've been actually all about 45. I think that's the kind of sweet spot we found here. So yeah, I want to
Okay.
give you closing comments here, but and from your side, but we got just a few other comments I want to throw up here, give everybody a chance in the spotlight. And again, this is all kind of coming back to you here. So got Dom making another comment, sharing her experience, out there with you guys. Trail work is no joke! Exclamation point. I've learned a lot from my experiences with Arizona Vets program. The most rewarding moment was seeing a through hiker passing through and thanking us for what we're doing. Yeah, hell yeah, right on. Then we got Sergeant Tom's talking about trekking poles. Yeah, I mean,
Oh
that's
yeah.
another technique right there, you know? So, and then Kathy saying, it took me months to find the right bag and shoes. They are now both discontinued, but if I find them on eBay, even used, I grab them.
Yeah.
Kathy, it's just so like, you know, back in the day, you know, when I was, doing this, it was the same thing with me for running shoes, you know, like, cause I ran like a lot, right? Cause, you know, obviously what we're talking about here, it's a lot of endurance, right? You know, so running was more important for me. And I've never been a huge muscular guy anyway. So I've been more of that endurance dude. But Kathy, to your point, yeah, I'd find a good pair of like either trail shoes or, you know, asphalt, you know, like, you know, running, city type of shoes for running. And if I found a good pair, I'd immediately go buy another pair, you know, because of what you're saying, because yeah, you know, a year later, they're not making that brand anymore or that style. So yeah, you got to grab it and get it
Absolutely.
and then, yeah, and keep it. All right. So good comments right there from everybody. And I really definitely appreciate it. Thank you guys for, giving your comments and sharing your experiences, you know, in the live stream. Chappy, again, hats off. Thanks for doing that intro and, and raising our glass to our fallen dead on D-Day. Where do you want to go? How about this we got one more comment here. I'm now more convinced this is from Learn Me Something. I'm now more convinced that I should incorporate rucking into my exercise routine. Amen. Amen. It's
Amen.
great cardio. It really is.
Yep. Every
Uh,
day I go out into my backyard. I have a connecting, trail, if you will, that we call washes. I don't know if you have that where you're at, but it's essentially these drainage systems that run throughout Tucson for when the monsoon season hits. But they end up being like these great superhighways for growth of nature. I mean, and for wildlife as well. So I get to go out there daily with my dog and sort of get that desert experience. And I sure as hell put a backpack on almost every time just to get that little extra resistance. Because I know not only do I do this for work, but I know that it's better for my body, and I actually feel like it's something that is benefiting me in the long run. So yeah, throw a backpack on anytime you can do it. Go ruck. That's a bad, but that's a lot of people that I've met too, especially like the Marine and Army crowd. They don't like that term ruck because it kind of brings them back to, throwing that 100+ pound pack, that Alice pack back on again. And I don't relate because that was Navy, so I didn't have that experience. But if you can, get back, to maybe a more recreational side of rucking. I know that Go Ruck has been a big force in getting people back into that mindset of throwing a pack on. But yeah, just definitely make sure it fits well. And then more to Kathy's point, just I want to touch on this because footwear is so important, as you mentioned, Mark, but getting fitted for those shoes is equally as important. And I'm a big believer in orthotics, whether they're custom or store bought or trim to fit or whatever. The insoles that most shoes come with are, BS. They're
yeah.
afterthoughts. So they're kind of meant to have an insole in there to give you that kind of support that your arches need, especially for long distance stuff. So make sure that not only you're buying twice, if you find something that works, go get an insole as well. So with that, not to go over time, it looks like we already did. So the
No,
last thing I would love to.
it's still just natural, right? You know, that's just our
Okay,
thing.
good,
And by the
good.
way, you
Looks
got a
like
couple
everyone's still
people.
engaged.
Yeah,
So
and you
I'm
got a
happy
couple
about that.
people saying thanks. Snowshoe saying thanks. Dom is
Oh,
saying
thank
thanks.
you.
You already motivated Al. He's a brother to the north of us. He says, I'm
Nice.
going for a walk when this is over, right?
Good.
And then Kathy chiming in. My hubby deployed last Friday and seeing him leave with the slam pack ruck definitely made me jealous. And then Dom saying, thanks. So just because we're kind of, D-Day and we're talking, veteran, we just had Memorial Weekend, for our honored dead. But I remember if you kind of go back to like Gulf One, and I just remember it like a scene, Chappy, kind of what you're talking about. It's war. You're really carrying equipment, and some news crew, remember how they had everybody embedded in Gulf One, and and there's a reporter embedded with this infantry, group, and here's some poor E4, and he's trying to get this ruck on, you know how that works, and there's a technique for it, but it's so heavy you can just see him kind of moving around, and then he sees the camera crew. I just love this, and he looks at him, he goes, "Light infantry, my ass." It just it was awesome,
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, that's no joke. In fact, there's a great friend of mine, Derek, who was also he was an Intel guy, but he also carried a bunch of radio equipment on his back. And You know, talking about like camping or rucking. He mentioned this the first time I got him out on a trail event, that he was just like very, very skeptical, as Kevin was saying, or just resident, because he didn't want that experience again, because it really was somewhat traumatic for him. He didn't want to go back to that mindset. But as you know, and most of us know, that go out camping now recreationally, it's a much different experience. But yeah, that those packs are no effing joke.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, couple last little comments that came in. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna read this, and then let's give you the final word here. I think we left off with Dom. Yeah, so Kevin is where we just kind of, he just wants to say thank you to you, Chappy, for your leadership on the expedition. Says he'll see you on the trail again. And then a question, and maybe this, and see, you know, learn me something. We'll read this, but this is what I think we should have you back on later, Chappy, because we can do this again, and then maybe we answer some of these kind of questions, you know. But learn me something's asking, would barefoot shoes be a horrible idea? I think if we go into start answering that right now, we're going to open up a little bit too much. Because let's just address this. Let's talk about foot maintenance, shoes, and all that kind of stuff going in the future. So not punting on that, learn me something, but stay tuned. We'll actually do another live, and we'll actually make it a little bit more of you know, a Q&A, like, you know, because you know, everything that I know or I did might not work for you, right? So, you know, there's some general guidelines that you should follow, and then find the sweet spot, you know, in there, because everybody's a little different, you know. So, but yeah, there's definitely some little tricks when it comes to rucking, and, you know, but, you know, foot maintenance and good freaking footwear. So, you know, Chappy, on that note right there, what do you got? How about a little outro for you? And we'll just kind of wrap this up on this D-Day, and we'll go from there. But you got the outro, sir.
All right. Well, thank you again, Mark, for having me on here. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you again, as always, and on this very momentous day of days, as they say. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, this is very important in addition to what we're doing on the trails, is to make sure that programming like the Arizona Trail Vets is available to every veteran, every member of the military in perpetuity. And the way that we do that is by making it very clear and loud that this is something that we absolutely need, not want, need. Because if we don't do that, then, you know, you'll see me coming on to podcasts or you know, live streams like this begging for change. However, and I'll still do it. However, I would love for funding to never be an issue if the programming is right and the programming is working for the individuals that it's tailored to. And the way that we get there, again, is by making it very clear that this is what we want and need, moreover, more that we need. So what we're doing is, in addition to these programs that I run, we are working with nonprofits like Team RWD that are part of a task force that's designed to show the efficacy of outdoor adjunct therapy to our veterans. So that's still in the works, but we're moving in very good directions, I think. And I just want everyone to be aware that we're fighting for that privilege and that right for our servicemen and women every time that we go out and step foot on the trail. And I will make this my absolute mission and vision for as long as my body is capable, to speak to folks like you, to audiences that will hear the need and the cry that we would much rather be prescribed nature than a pill. That's all I got.
Yeah, you know, well, we're going to have to stretch it just a couple seconds, because, and maybe you and I can talk about this offline, because you just nailed it right there. One of my biggest issues with the VA is like, you know, and I don't, again, I'm so pissed off about some stuff in the VA, and it's just, it's so embarrassing, and such a travesty. And, you know, to your point, like, oh, here's an fentanyl based drug. Here's an oxy. I'm like, hold up. What are you? No. So, yeah. So I amen to what you just said right there. You know, throwing pills at it, you know, isn't necessarily the answer. And how about we just actually try to identify what's really wrong, and then work on fixing that, as opposed to, oh, yeah, well, here's another pill. And yeah, what does it matter if it's fentanyl based or if it's oxycodone? You know, like, yeah, I see you shaking your head. You know what I'm talking about. So, hey, you got just a few more comments here, and then you know, kind of, I didn't want to, just that last thing, I could start railing against that, and that's why I love what you guys are doing, because you know, okay, yeah, there are pills that you do have to take for certain things. I get that. But, you know, when you're trying to, you know where I'm going. So nature, get out there, do stuff. And, you know, some comments that just came in, Thomas saying your leadership was on the expedition was outstanding. He's giving you big thanks. Then we've got Martin from over in Denmark saying, thank you for an interesting episode. And thank you to all vets for your part in keeping the world safe. Thankful fan from Denmark. Yeah, you guys got a story and a history there. Thank you very much, Martin. Daniel, nature therapy is the best. Yeah, okay, right on, right on. And then Dom just with a big amen at the end there. So, hey, so, you know, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Again, my hat's off to you. I want to stay in touch. I want to see if there's more that we can do. And again, I'll work with you on your schedule and then maybe get in and we actually have that other conversation talking about boots and footwear and socks and rucksacks and that kind of stuff.
Totally.
Final comments
Anytime.
final comments for you. Oh, and then we got Angry Viking Veteran. Well, here, just last ones. Daniel's talking about a pair of trail running shoes versus 15 pills.
Yeah. So real quick, Daniel it was one of the Eagle leaders out there from Team RWB. So hats off to Daniel as well for taking care of those veterans on the trails while we were on the north rim of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, and that does look like I saw the picture you sent me. That just looked like it was awesome. Learn me something, saying thanks and wishing everybody good night. And then we got Angry Viking Veteran on here. Good show, gentlemen. God bless. And to you too, Angry Viking Veteran. All right, Chappy, take us out. Everybody, thank you very much for watching the live stream tonight. Thanks for all the interaction. You know, if you've been on my lives or watch them, you know how much I really mean it. The interaction from everybody, you know, even if there's, you know, I don't know how many people really are watching. I think the numbers from the software are always a little bit off, but I just love that interaction. Thank you guys so very much for being here, being, you know, in the live, asking questions, you know, leaving your comments. That's what it, to me, that's also part of the community. That's what it's all about. So huge thanks on my part for everybody watching. Huge thanks to Chappy for coming on, taking the time out of his busy life and his schedule. He's out there crushing it. So Chappy, when we are done, why don't you and I just stay tuned for a second? Because well, or maybe we'll just touch base, you know, whatever. I don't know what your schedule is, but you know,
I got time.
Maybe, and then maybe we can.
I'm always got time for you, Mark. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, brother.
Yeah. Well, maybe I should have a beer after this, but you know, maybe that'll help my allergies or whatever. But no, and then maybe we'll sit and talk about that other episode. But what do you got? You take us on out here, sir. Final comments on your side.
Final comments. Well, you know, again, I'll just reiterate how amazing it is that our community can, you know, connect this way. I really appreciate the platform, Mark. Love what you do for our community. I love the gear that you make, brother. Like, there's just honestly, like, finding you in the ether that is the internet when it comes to, you know, hard use soft goods, spectacular. Y'all, if you haven't checked out Mark's gear yet, I'm gonna plug you now, Mark. You absolutely need to, because it's not just like the trail tools, or it's you know, canteen carriers, just amazing quality kit. I now have, I think, 3 different pieces from Mark, and they look brand new, and I beat the crap out of them. So
you're putting some wear and tear on stuff out there, man. You know,
totally. We need to figure out, and maybe something else for you to create for some of our other tools. But beyond that, like, I really do appreciate having a chance to talk about the work that we're doing down here in Arizona for our veteran community, and I really hope to continue doing what we do and finding awesome support from our community all across I understand from Angry Viking Veteran from all across the globe. So please come down and see us in Arizona. We'll put a trail tool in your hand and give you that outdoor experience. So thank you again for having me on this awesome show.
You got it. Rock and roll to everybody out there. And you know the deal. If you got questions and comments, reach out to me anytime. I'll do the best I can to help you out. Even, you know, go back and you can see, you know, Chappy's contact info. But even if you just got a question, or if you want me to help put you in contact with him, I'm more than happy to do it. So reach out if you got questions. I'll do the best I can to help you out. And you know the deal, everybody, wherever you are, you know, keep thinking, keep moving, never quit. All right. We'll see everybody on Monday of next week for our next live. All right, everybody, be good. Woo!